All right, mic check. 1 2 1 2. We got mic check 1 2 right now. I'm just working on the thumbnail, and we're gonna get the show on and cracking in just a second. So, bear with me for just a second here. All right, we will begin in just a second. Okay, so bear with me. All right, so there we go. We got the thumbnail going. Let's see. Let's get to the live stream of what we got going on here. Shout out to everybody around the world that's tapped in right now. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to get this on and cracking in just a second here. All right, so those are one of my commercials that I got going on right now. Okay, so let's make sure that the audio is on and working right now. Okay. All right, we're gonna get started in a couple of minutes. Okay. All right, man. Shout out to you guys. Heard it here first. What happened? Okay, we're gonna talk about that in just a second as we discuss. So apparently there was a gang war that happened on Martin Luther King's parade in LA. We're going to talk about that. Ice Play says what? Yup, we're going to talk about all of that right now. So I'm going to get the thumbnail going, and then I'm going to write on the comment on the description below of when this is going to start, and we will be on our way. All right, so here we go. Okay, nope. Have you ever watched Southland? You know what? It's insane that you mentioned that, Marty. It's insane that you mentioned Southland. Guess what I'm watching on Netflix right now? Now, how insane is that, right? Have you ever watched Southland? Look, let me tell you what I love about Southland, Victory. It is literally politically incorrect. He says the gospel on Jesus Christ, the Lord. Okay, so basically Christian stuff. Okay, well, you guys are absolutely welcome here. Look, what I love about Southland, it's politically incorrect. Okay, let's be honest about this. In Southland, it is so politically incorrect because you have the cops who are white, blonde, blue eyes. The gang members are black, Hispanic, and sometimes Asian, although they don't feature Asians because it's not a Long Beach show, it's not a Stockton show, it's a greater LA show. How far are you? Let's see. I believe I'm on season 4, my man. I actually just caught up with it right now. You see, during back in the days when this was hot, when this show was hot, Southland, I wasn't watching it because guess what I was doing? I was in college concentrating, and not only I was in college concentrating, I was also preparing for fights. So yeah, I didn't really care about watching TV shows or anything like that. But now that I'm a little bit older, and now that I have, well, let's say a little bit more free time on my hands, on most cases in comparison to let's say when I was coming up, I'm now starting to kind of binge watch all of these things that I never watched before. All right, so there we go. That is the official thumbnail that we got for this show right now. Check out the thumbnail that we got exclusive right now for those of you that are currently watching. Another day in California. That's right. Just another day in California. Let me tell you why it's another day in California, guys. Oh, he said something is wrong with the audio. Okay, of course. Something is wrong with the audio. Hold on a second. All right. How's the audio right now?
This might be the only delivery service that actually feels chef made.
What's up, brother? Shout out to Connor.
If you're someone that enjoys delicious
Okay, how's the volume right now, guys? Okay, how's the volume right now, guys? It's okay now? All right, I think the volume is okay now. Okay, you fixed it. Perfect. Okay, so let's start this off with the 8-minute mark. So 8-minute mark, okay, so 8 minutes into this show, we are going to talk about what is going on in California. Another day in California. Marty mentioned to me about a show. Ironically, this is how our brains are sort of wired and connected together in a telekinesis kind of way, right? He asked me about Southland on Netflix. Now, it's not a Netflix show from what I remember because this is as far back as 2009. They were hot around 2011, and then they ended, I think, in the last season of 2013, and they never made the show since. Well, anyways, it's about LAPD. I like it. The show is politically incorrect. The show gets a little bit raunchy in terms of being racially derogatory and at times racially true. Okay, now that's what's interesting about this, right? The cops, the majority of the cops in the show, okay, are white, blonde, blue-eyed cops. The gangbangers are black or Hispanic or sometimes Asian. And that right there is pure reality at its best. Okay, that is pure reality at its best. And I'm going to tell you why. Because what you got there is literally the perfect representation of what California is. And by the way, the subject matter that we're going to talk about today happens to be about California. Because today, there seems to have been a shooting going on in California today. Okay, now this was around 5 hours ago.
Parents,
Let's get to the news on this one.
You could qualify for up to $300,000 or more.
All right, we're getting word of breaking news. This is out of Los Angeles about a possible shooting involving Border Patrol agents. So let's get the coverage from CBS News Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's right, Sheba. We got some new video and some new information from the LA County Sheriff's Department, who are now on scene assisting with securing the perimeter of this investigation. They say the shooting involving Border Patrol agents may have involved a crash involving a suspect trying to get away. Now, this is new video just into our newsroom of this operation in Willowbrook. This is on El Segundo near Alameda in the Willowbrook area. It's about 7:25 this morning that LA County Sheriffs say they got the report of some kind of a crash here and a shooting. When they responded, they say they found a Border Patrol operation here. Border Patrol agents have apparently told LA County Sheriff's deputies from the Sentry Station that no one was hit in the shooting. And we have also learned from the CHP that they are here as well. They have a log in their computer saying that they're assisting Border Patrol with a crash here. LA County Sheriffs say this may have involved a suspect trying to get away from Border Patrol. They don't know the status of that suspect, whether or not that person...
So far, this is what I gather out of the situation, right? Tavon says, that's me outside. Tavon Morris, that's you outside. You're a Los Angeles resident? Is that what you are saying? Well, if so, well, shout out to you, my man, my fellow Californian. I'm up in Sacramento, so... Okay, so what it seems is that there may have been Border Patrol agents chasing a suspect down, and for whatever reason, the shooting caused the Border Patrol agents to crash. And as a result, you have LAPD on the scene helping out and assisting for whatever it is that they can assist. Now, obviously, the difference between local police and federal agents, right? The local police have their own jurisdiction. Obviously, they don't have to necessarily listen to the border agents because they have a totally different jurisdiction. They can sometimes override them, and sometimes, in some cases, the federal agents can override the federal agents if there is an impending case that is going on. So, so far, that is what we're gathering out of this situation. Right? And yeah, these are all real situations that are going on. Just like what Marty mentioned to me earlier about Southland, right? Really interesting show. Even though it's an old show, it was recently added on Netflix, okay? And why am I mentioning Southland when we're talking about California stuff? Because it is so real. Like, the reality that they put on that show is second to none, okay? Usually, the counterpart or the oppositional show of Southland is The Rookie. Okay, The Rookie follows a man who was from Pennsylvania, was a construction worker, middle-aged white man from Pennsylvania, decided to move to LA and become an LAPD police officer, which, by the way, is sort of, I guess, a natural recruiting ground for people around the United States, right? Because the majority of people that are in LAPD are not necessarily from the communities themselves, right? And by the way, speaking of communities in LA, we're also going to talk about the deadly blood and Crip fighting that has been going on in MLK, and we're going to talk about that, but more on this news for a second.
Who's been taken into custody. We don't have any reports of any injuries here, but LA County Sheriffs say they are not involved in this immigration operation that Border Patrol is conducting here. They are just here conducting a security of the scene to make sure that the public does not interfere with this operation here and that there's a safety for everyone involved.
So in other words, what they are saying is that there is an impending investigation going on. They don't want anyone to interfere. They still have to find out and gather more intel as what happened. So this shooting is taking place in Willowbrook, California. Okay, this is near Los Angeles. It's not necessarily in Los Angeles, but obviously within the suburbs of Los Angeles, right? Very similar to, let's say, Reseda, right? The place where the Karate Kid had moved into, which, by the way, is a real place. But nonetheless, reportedly involved a federal immigrant agent, which is the shooting that happened here. Yes, so that's apparently what is going on right now. So if we read the comments on this, let's see. This person says, Border Patrol tries to stop Crook, tries to flee or ram them with their vehicle. Border Patrol shoots Crook Crook crashes. I don't see the problem. Okay, so that's literally what it is. He says media clowns are trying so hard to cause a riot. Okay, so this is an interesting comment right here by CBS News Los Angeles, right? This particular comment right here. The media clowns are trying so hard to cause a riot. Okay? Now, is that true? Is that literally what they are trying to do? Right? Because, look, if you read this right here from Benito Salazar, and from what it looks like he's a police supporter, right? Indicative of that blue flag right there, right? The blue line flag, which indicates that you support cops. So he's got a pretty reasonable comment here, too. Border Patrols tries to stop the crook. Crook tries to flee or ram them with his vehicle. Border Patrol shoots the crook. Crook crashes a car. And basically what he is trying to say is that perhaps maybe there is a potential cover-up that is going on. But let's find out.
Now, our reporter, Rick Montanez, has just arrived there. We want to get right to him right now. He is actually on scene. Let's go right to Rick. What are you learning down there at the scene in Willowbrook?
Well, Mark, certainly I can tell you right off the top that the neighborhood here, it's a tense situation because people are angry that this federal action was happening here. But I'll get out of the way so we can show you what it looks like from the ground here. So we are standing on 126th Street at Mona Boulevard, and on both sides of this police perimeter, you hear neighbors shouting at these federal agents. One man is shouting for them to take off their masks. You see them just down the road from us. In what we typically see in scenes like this with tactical vests, face coverings.
So from what I understand here, there seems to be some agitators going on here, right? The problem here is that they're agitating for something that they don't know about. At least that's my pre-notioned assumption to this matter, right? They don't know what's going on. They just know that it's ICE that's there. So it's a politically hot topic. And as a result of that, they just decided to come out here and yell and scream at ICE. And so this is what we have right now.
Large weapons as well, but we also want to focus your attention, if we can, over here on this BMW here that's wrecked, and it appears the airbags have deployed, and there is damage to the windshield in the front, whether that's from maybe the gunfire earlier. We're not sure exactly, but the car has front end damage, so it may have struck one of these parked vehicles and then stopped here. But as Mark Lou was just reporting, that this appears to have been someone who may have been trying to get away. That is what we are learning from law enforcement at the moment. But I can also tell you this is all going to be a lot to gather because several agencies involved, as we know, Border Patrol out here, as well as the LA County Sheriff's Department and Highway Patrol. So we're keeping an eye on things here as this scene progresses, but trying to get to the bottom of these details. Lots of people out here who may have been witnesses to this, and we'll get more information as we work, and we'll bring that to you as soon as we can. For now, live in Willowbrook, Rick Montanez, CBS LA.
Okay, you've been listening to breaking news there from our team at CBS News LA. They're covering a story about a shooting involving a federal agent. Again, this is breaking news, so a lot of information unknown right now, but we'll continue to follow this. And as soon as we have new
Whoever invented this deserves a raise. Can't believe it's...
All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is the little gang fight that they had going on MLK Day, right? So the person we're going to actually go react to this actually hates gang members, right? His name is Poetic Flacco. He works with No Jumper. He's an employee of Adam 22. He said a lot of really horrible things about gang members, right? He says that the mothers of gang members don't deserve mercy or something to that extent. So he right now is a target in LA for gang members because of the things that he says in No Jumper, which, by the way, is a show that happens to be followed and watched by a lot of gang members. You want to know what's crazy, right? A lot of these LA gang members from LA, growing up, a lot of the things that they aspire to be was, okay, like any other kid in America, they aspire to be sports superstars. In the black community, there's a lot of people that want to be rappers, so they aspire to be that. Nowadays, in the modern times, their whole entire goal is to be on No Jumper with Adam. Can you imagine that? These hardcore gang members who have a history behind them, right? From blood and crippin and all of that. They have a history behind all of that, right? A lineage. Sometimes some of them were born into the set. Their whole entire goal in life is to be on No Jumper. And to them, that is a sign of success. Oh, I made it to No Jumper. But little do they know, Adam pays his employees $200 a month, and you can make more of that working at a gas station, working at, stocking shelves and whatnot, right? He says, I inspire to be Jewish so I can do whatever I want and not have any moral hesitations. Wow, Chris Bond, that is a very, man, you know what? You just reminded me, I got to do a video on Myron Gaines, right? Because obviously they're very upset at Myron Gaines right now, or we could talk about it as well. I could, obviously do a video on that. He says, sounds like something Fresh would say. Oh, are you talking about what Chris said? Yeah, right. That is something he would say. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure if Chris sticks around, I'm sure we'll get more of that. But remember, Chris, you're allowed to say whatever you want here, but just remember, I have to, set a certain standard to a certain limit. I'm all for freedom of speech, but please understand that I also have a channel to run. Okay? So that's really strange, right? That is what they aspire to be, is No Jumper, not even co-host, but just as a guest. Like, they do one episode and then they're back to the hood with literally no money in their pocket other than just a video with them and Adam 22, which is strange in and of itself. But yeah, there's plenty of truth there. So in what exactly what Fresh was saying, or what in what context did you mean that there's plenty of truth? But in any regard, here's Poetic Flacco, the best man to react to this, because he has an anti-gangbanger stance, and he says, beautiful ocean waves on that wall. Thank you so much, Broad. Thank you so much, my man, Broad. Let me know what part of the world you are from, man. You are very much welcome here.
Let's cover 10 pro tips for working with the Cursor agent. So I've got Cursor open and my agent on the right.
If this week didn't convince you that LA gang members are literal spawns of Satans, the devil...
There you go. So then he goes in and says, the literal spawns of Satans. A couple of things I want to say about that, right? And he's not even like 10 seconds into this. I'm already reacting to what he's saying, right? Calling them spawns of Satans, I notice also that Poetic Flacco specifically goes after black gang members, right? He doesn't go after Mexican gang members. He doesn't go after Asian gang members. He doesn't go after Samoan gang members. And by the way, these are communities that are very much active with gang activity, especially in California. But for whatever reason, because he has a certain audience, right? In particular, he has, a square black audience. He also has a white audience as well, right? He sort of has a lot of this performative, pejorative way of expressing anti-black undertones, right? And the best way to really put it with Poetic Flacco. So I'm just kind of giving you context so you can understand where he's coming from here. Odin says, the only thing depressing about knowing the future and how the world ends is that absolutely nobody cares. Wow. You know what? That is so very true, my man. We are living in a world right now where a lot of things are falling apart. A lot of institutions are falling apart. The things that you used to love and the things that you used to care about, you no longer see many people caring about the same things. For example, if you grew up watching professional wrestling, guess what? A lot of these professional wrestling shows your friends don't watch anymore. And we can also talk about the UFC, where a lot of your friends may have had interest in having pay-per-view parties back in the days, but now no more. So that is something to think about. He says, have you done a fruit and herb cleanse yet? A fruit and herb cleanse. I don't think I have. Not where you exclusively just eat fruits and herbs. Is that what you mean? I mean, obviously, I eat a lot of fruits, and, I do some herbs, when it comes to, certain things that I cook or eat and things of that nature, but not specifically focused on just fruits and herbs you know, in and of itself, right? Where you're just, you know, rejecting everything else. So no, I haven't gone to that fullest extent yet. So
then nothing will, bruh. These are literal spawns of Satan's. The devil, then nothing will, bruh. Before the video even gets started, I want to put y'all on the video game. Is willing code or yesterday? Oh, you should download the app and get started. While the world was celebrating MLK yesterday, oh, you won't believe what LA gang members were doing. See, Los Angeles also had a parade for MLK to celebrate his life and his legacy. Gang members pulled up, but they ain't pull up to celebrate MLK legacy. Oh, nah. BG, we just whooped the crowd out. Big homies up. Yeah, though. BG, whoop crowd out. There's not a word. Yeah, though. BG, whoop crowd out.
okay, so I want you to notice something, right? This kid in the video right here.
Hey, legacy. Oh, nah. BG, we just whooped.
What it seems like is that this kid comes from a blood neighborhood, even though he's wearing blue. By the way, this is very common nowadays, right? It's not so much about the color that you wear, but so much more if people know who you are, then, you know, you're not really emphasized on the color. And then sometimes they'll compliment whatever they wear. Let's say he's wearing blue right now, even though he's a blood, he'll compliment that maybe with a red bandana, you know, attached to him, or maybe wear something red, or maybe not have any red at all, but just identify as a blood. But anyways, just wanted to throw that out there.
There's not a word.
So he called them a crab, right? So that's basically a diss claim, a diss that you sort of throw at a Crip, right? So basically they are admitting to, you know, committing a crime against a Crip, but yeah.
Word to describe the level of sellouts that LA gang members are. Instead of these people showing up to celebrate the life and the legacy of a man responsible.
Okay, so that's interesting, right? He brought up that these LA gang members are sellouts, and I'm trying to understand what his logic is behind that, right? So why exactly are they sellout? What makes them a sellout in your view, Flacco? Is it because they have done something to disrespect a black holiday of some sort? Look, I'm going to be honest with you, right? There's a lot of people out there that, you know, think MLK wasn't even a good Christian, right? And I'm not here to judge. I'm just telling you the other view of this, right? They said that he was a womanizer. They've even mentioned that he has raped someone before, although I don't know if that's true or not, because you got to remember the FBI goes out there and creates all types of false claims against their enemies, especially if you are a threat to the United States. And at the time, the influential apparatus of Dr. Martin Luther King was very huge, to the point where he might have been considered a threat to the state of some sort, right? So they had to act accordingly. And how exactly did they do that? Well, they had to pull up some propagandas or this and that. But what I'm saying is that what Flacco here is doing is sort of idolizing MLK as some sort of like divine figure of some sort. Like, oh, how dare you act up on MLK? Look, here's something you got to understand. Gang members are going to act like gang members 24/7, 365 days of the year. That's how gang members are going to act. And that also includes Ramadan and Eid, right? I know Muslims who are in gangs, okay, that will fast during the day, will pray and observe Ramadan during the day, but at night, instead of going to Tarawih, maybe they're out, you know, putting on a ski mask, going and putting in some work of some sort, right? This is a reality, right? So this idea that, oh, well, they're supposed to have a sacred day on a day of a black hero of some sort. I mean, it's ridiculous. Gang members are going to do what they're going to do. And quite frankly, I don't think gang members are really racially conscious in the way that you would think that they are, right? I think people have this false narrative that gang members operate in a way where, you know, they are racially conscious to the way that, let's say, Nas would be, or the way that Talib Kweli would be, or the way that, let's say, Dr. Umar Johnson would be. These gang members are nothing like that. And if you want any reminder of that, just remember that bald dude from Menace to Society, when that one Muslim character in the movie Menace to Society tried to hand him a cassette tape to play some socially conscious rap, and guess what he said to him? hey, homie, ain't none of that black power stuff getting played in this car, homie. He flat out told that. He flat out said that to him. And the reason why I brought up that scene in Menace to Society is because I'm trying to make you understand the extent of their anti-racial sentiments of some sort. So you got to understand that from that perspective. So, okay, on any regards, continuing on with Flacco here.
For a lot of the freedoms that they are getting to enjoy, they showed up looking for other black men to hurt. See, they're from the 80s.
So here's something you got to understand, right? It's not necessarily that they purposely look for other black men to hurt. Gangbanging is gangbanging, and there's no race behind it. Sometimes your enemies are black. Sometimes your enemies are Hispanic. Sometimes your enemies are from other people from around the world, depending on if they decided to, you know, come step in your territory in whatever California city or town you're from, right? I don't think there's a race element into that, unless, of course, you're in prison. Now, that's a completely different game, a game that I know nothing about, but what I can tell you is that it does get really racial inside prison and the politics that come along with that.
They're bloods. So when the parade is driving through various neighborhoods, there are people in this parade. There are people who are showing up to celebrate MLK, but they're showing up to look and see if they recognize anybody from a rival hood or anybody who may be a Crip.
Right, because they're going to do that 365 days of the year anyway. That is literally what they do. And here's another thing, guys. I need you guys to understand something. There's a difference between gangbangers and gangsters. Okay? Now, sometimes people evolve into gangsters from gang banging. And what exactly do I mean by that? A gangbanger literally wakes up in the morning and says, who is my rivals to my hood and my gang? We're going to go after them, and especially if there are colors involved, right? So if we're the red team or we're the blue team, we're going to go after the opposite color of that. That's a gangbanger. A gangster, well, it could be somebody that's a blood or a Crip or somebody that's a mafia member that operates in a matter of stoicism, organized crime, in a way of planning and strategizing, as opposed to, let's say, just crash out bandicoot type of situations, which is what a lot of these gang members you see do on a daily basis, that do walk-ups or drive-bys with no care in the world.
And they are attacking them.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 4.
I do this on the regular. Damn, PG, you got barking on the ground. Dead homies. These devils pulled somebody from out of the parade, dragged them into the local mall, and then threw them off the balcony.
Okay, that's pretty vicious right there, okay? So those are some pretty vicious details right there. You're talking about throwing somebody over a balcony, okay? Now remember, Suge Knight once held Vanilla Ice on the top of a balcony only to scare him. That was his only intention, was, hey, look, I'm going to scare you a little bit. I just need you to give me the percentage of whatever percentage that I require from my artist, of which wrote your Ice Ice Baby song, and that's it. That's all that I want. But on any regard.
And when they recorded the video and posted it, they captioned it, "We killed M." Now, as far as my knowledge, I haven't seen any reported homicide, so I would assume the person lived. But they threw that person from off a balcony. I think it was like a really deep fall as well. They threw that person off that balcony with the intention to kill him.
But for the record, when they threw him off the balcony, he actually ended up living, and here's more details on that matter.
The person just lived. And they did this, by the way, to other black men on MLK Day.
I understand how that looks, but once again, gangbanging is gangbanging. It doesn't matter if it's MLK Day. It doesn't matter if it's Cesar Chavez Day. It doesn't matter if it is Che Guevara Day or Osama bin Laden Day. They really don't care. They don't care, right? So this idea that you try and somehow, create a divine figure out of MLK, like how dare you act this way upon MLK? It is like as if you are acting like that on Jesus' birthday. And obviously, as Muslims, we don't necessarily believe that Christmas is Jesus' birthday, but that's another side story. But you know what I mean, right? They try to treat it like it's some kind of holy divine type of figure, when in reality, MLK was just a normal man who, yes, he did contribute to the fabric of social justice, the fabric of civil rights, but that was all. But he was also a flawed man, and really nothing to look up to other than his contributions to civil rights. I mean, let me know if I'm hitting a nerve here, or if you guys agree with that, or if you guys understand that, or if you guys completely disagree with it. Let me know in the comment section below.
There's no words to explain. These people are the devil.
Get thrown off the balcony, blood. Yeah, do better, fine. Do better, blood. Just say.
King Louis says you're not wrong. Okay, so we have one person that agrees with that. Let me know if anybody else agrees with that or disagrees with it. Does it really matter that gangbangers are reacting or acting this way on MLK Day when they're going to do it on any other day? I think what Poetic Flacco is trying to do here is he's trying to sensationalize, because look, I need to show you the type of content that Poetico Flacco does, right? Not necessarily the kind of content he does, but how he delivers his content. Just to give you guys a little bit of some context, okay? So there's an AI picture of Sneako. They did him dirty. He's done. They had weapons. This is bad, okay? More bad news. This is bad. Very bad news. Okay, his girl got effed. So very emotive language. He got exposed. He is in danger. He wants blood. He got robbed, right? More bad news. What I'm trying to say is that Poetic Flacco has a propensity of sensationalizing things, right? Being over the top. What was said about him in the video? Oh, okay. What was said about him in the video in terms of what? MLK. Look, what I'm saying is that gang members are going to act the way that they're going to act regardless of what day it is. And because Poetic Flacco is a pro-black man who happens to also be a very anti-gang activist to a certain degree, or at least, I mean, I don't know what kind of activism he does on that front, but he certainly doesn't give any solutions to the problems that he has with gang members. Look, I got to tell you guys, believe it or not, there are positivities to gang membership, okay? And those are some things that is really controversial to say, but the reality is being in a gang is no different than being in a fraternity. It really isn't. You want to know what fraternities get you? They get you jobs outside of college. You want to know what being in a gang gets you? I mean, sometimes almost nothing, but if you meet the right people with the right connections, for example, if you want to get into the music industry in California, guess what? You're going to be dealing with gang members, okay? If you want to get into, let's say, hood vlogging, you know what Tommy G does, or what Adam 22, or all these other hood vloggers, right? Point and shoot, or, you know, whoever is out there in that scene. You got to get in line with gang members, and you're either going to have a relationship with them that's either exploitive or collaborative, right? For me, I'd rather be in a relationship where we're collaborating, right? Rather than being leveraged against, right? Because if they don't know you, if they have no connections to you in any kind of way, you will be leveraged, because that is just what California gang members here do. I got to tell you something, right? As somebody who has a good understanding of military strategy and tactics, right? I find it very amusing how good California gang members are when it comes to setting people up. Look at what they did with Pop Smoke. Look at what they did with Biggie Smalls. These are military operational standard lineups that they do, right? Strategies that they do. And it makes me wonder, when you look at the GTA San Andreas storyline, you ever notice Carl was involved with a CIA agent? Right? It's almost really like intelligence level type of setups and assassinations that they do with these rappers. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, gangs in California are highly capable in ways that people would be surprised. It's just that the problem is that some people outside of it kind of look at it like just a bunch of, you know, unhinged people. And by the way, that's also true because these are young kids. They don't know any better. They're very unhinged. They don't really understand the world from a very sophisticated manner. So yeah, he says, Marty says that's extremely ironic.
Funny cases, they found a nigga dead. I heard the Johnny couldn't help him. Face on the ground, his mama mad cause he didn't make funny cases. They found a nigga dead. I heard the Johnny couldn't help him. He's still around. Chasing the funny.
Okay, so if you look back, I think that is near the Coliseum in LA where... Yeah, so this is near the Coliseum in LA.
I heard the Johnny couldn't help him. Face on the ground, his mama mad cause he didn't make it. If she have another son, we coming through just making we around. Chasing the funny cases, they found a nigga dead. I heard the Johnny's couldn't help him. Face on the ground, his mama mad cause he didn't make it. If she have another son, we coming through just making. I do the most. I'm living life for hoes. Slum with a pole.
These animals are doing this for validation from 300.
These animals are doing it for validation of 300 people. I love how he just calls them animals, right? But, you know, once again, Poetic Flacco is entitled to his own opinion. You know, he has beef with these gangs. But at the same time, he makes money off of their content, right? So, you know, it's kind of weird. But King Louis says, to be fair, social media doesn't reward posts talking about white people's issues as well. Okay. In terms of what? Like, you mean when white people crash out in public or when, you know, they get arrested or this and that? Are you saying it doesn't make big news? Well, on the contrary, here's the thing, right? In California, we have white supremacist gangs, okay? Now, they get caught just like everybody else. They get RICOs just like everybody else. But here's the kicker of it, right? They have very low convictions when it comes to getting RICOs upon them, right? Mexican gangs get RICOs. Bloods and Crips get RICOs. But white supremacist gangs, very few times they get RICO. Now, there was a RICO that was placed on them a couple of months ago, or maybe over almost a year ago, right? That this happened in LA, a white supremacist gang, but the only reason why they got indicted or, you know, or got warrants on them was because they were tied in with the Mexican mafia. Search up a Hyjin from Skis. Who is that exactly? Hyojin from Skis. Who is that? I hope this is not a setup. Me, you know, you having me search these people. Hyojin. Okay, are you trying to say that this is, you know, somebody that, okay, so you're trying to say that I probably look like this guy. I think that's what you are insinuating. You're trying to say that I look like him with a beard is what you're basically saying. Okay, got it. It is. Okay, got it. So that's literally what you're trying to say to me. See, this is how intelligent I am. I don't even know this guy from a can of paint. And the fact that you're asking me to search him, I look at him and I'm like, why does he want me to look at this guy? And then it just dawned to me, you're saying that I kind of resemble this guy in some kind of way. All right, well, great on you. Okay, awesome.
People, all right, their influence don't extend past their community, so they're having an all-out brawl. They're duking it out.
So here's the thing. He's right about that, right? A lot of these gang members who do vlogs or have, you know, their social media out there or rap, right? Yeah, he's right. Their influence doesn't really extend beyond their neighborhood. But guess what? A lot of these gangster rappers, they can get millions of views from around the world with, you know, just the right algorithm shooting their way. And it's happened multiple times. I mean, think about how Blueface became one of the biggest rappers in the world. Right, he comes from an LA gang. There's a lot of people that come from LA gangs that rap better than him. But why is it that Blueface has bigger notoriety than everybody else? That's just how the algorithm works, my man. You know, just like MMA Guru. I mean, look, it's subjective. I think that I'm a better MMA streamer than Guru, right? You know, but for whatever reason, the algorithm just seems to, you know, be on his side. And of course, he has done it a lot longer, so that's kind of a factor as well.
They're trying to murder each other so they can win the award of what? Like the funkiest, stankiest gang member standing? Like, is that what it is, bro? Like, which one of you guys can be the dirtiest person alive. Like, this is what this...
See, now, this is the reason why a lot of these gang members want to come after Flacco.
Because there's no reward for this. Like, you're not getting paid from this. You're not getting too much clout from this. Yeah, we're talking about you, but by next week, nobody's going to know who you guys are. Y'all probably get paid, what? Like $20 and a pack of Zaza for an interview, and then after that, you'll go back to that community.
See, this is what I mean. He is right about that, right? You know, a pack of Zazas, and then you come back to that community all for an interview. He's right about that. I told you guys, back in the 90s, in the 2000s, right, a lot of these gang members, their aspiration was to get out of the hood, either through sports or through rapping. Nowadays, it's to go to No Jumper, which obviously has no future other than Adam 22 just exploiting you. But by the way, speaking of which, we are going to cover Adam 22's fight this coming Friday, as well as we're going to cover the UFC 324 fight as well.
Again, and probably won't make it past 25. Like, what really is the reward from this? Now, apparently, other gangs heard that the B team had the elite forces on the block, so that they sent their own special forces to combat them, and then their allies sent their special...
I love how he uses the analogy of military special forces unit as a way to describe different blood factions and different Crip factions.
Forces, and before you know it, you had the 30s, the 40s, you had the schoolyard Crips out, you had BPS, you had the 80s, you had Harlem Crips. It was an all-out war.
ChatGPT, can I make real estate with $0?
Yes.
Women, slide me out of here. Oh, Harlem Crip, slide me out of here. Oh, thank you.
First off, man, y'all are just disrespectful to our senses, man. Oh, we can smell the 40-day-old draws, the Harden, Nugget, and Reggie in their pockets through the screen. Having to smell these dirty niggas through the screen is already terrible enough. Can you imagine being in there?
Look, isn't it weird? Do you know where Flacco is from? He's from Liberia, okay? And he's calling these guys who come from California, okay, with a higher standard of living. I don't care if you're in the ghetto of California, right? There's a higher standard of living in California than there is in Africa, okay? And he's calling these guys dirty and this, that, and the other. How do you even know? How do you even know if they smell if you're too scared to even get near them? You know what I mean? Like, that's the weird thing about this, right? Flacco would never be an inch of these guys, let alone 100 feet from these guys, and he's saying that he, already knows how they would smell through, the screen. It's a weird thing to say, but once again, it's just his way of demonizing the people that he is in opposition of.
Presents. Lord just said the flood, man. Wash away these dirty niggas, man. We good. We could do away without them. What exactly is the purpose for an LA game? There's literally no purpose at all. Can you imagine a day where you could take your babies and go to a MLK parade and not have to deal with these animals? Can you imagine a day where you could throw a birthday party for your babies at the local park and not have to deal with these animals shooting it up? Can you imagine a day where you could come home at about 11 p.m. and you could drive directly on your block and park and just hop out your car and drive to your house and walk in your house without any worries that one of these animals will come and rob you? Can you imagine the day where babies can walk to school by themselves without one of these animals trying to indoctrinate them and put them onto a game? And the thing that really befuddles me is the fact that the solution is not that hard. Just bring the RICO and get them off the streets. We already have a database and a gang file. I would say probably hire more agents, probably hire more people to broaden the gang files.
And then to do what? To waste more taxpayers' money. Look, I'm not asking people to be pro-gangs or anything like that, right? But do you really want a government to spend more money on gangs when, let's be real about this, right? I understand the plan, right? in 2028, there's going to be the Olympics in Los Angeles, right? So you probably want to get those gang members up out of there, right? That's probably what they want to try and do. But here's a reality of gang members that I know, right? They're not going to harm anyone other than other gang members. You understand? And here's the thing. Some of these other gang members are some of the worst human beings in the world. I'm telling you right now, and I'm telling you this from a perspective of somebody that's been around people like this. They are some of the worst human beings in the world. So the solution is this. Let the animals wipe out the animals, okay? And it takes a serious animal to go wipe out another animal. And I can tell you, I'm an animal. And not only am I an animal, I'm a wolf. Ow, 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 ow. Come on, Jake. You a wolf? You a sheep or you a wolf, Jake? Don't let me pull out my Denzel Washington voice on you. You a wolf or you a sheep, Jake? Which one are you? Oh, 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 doing a little Rampage Jackson. Oh, oh, old school Rampage Jackson. Oh, oh. You know what I mean? So that's it, man. Let the animals wipe each other out. You don't need to spend government money on these people in any kind of way.
Add more people to it.
All right, so let's skip around a little bit because he's got a bit of some monologue with this. Let's go to the news clip regarding this subject.
Good afternoon, I'm Glenn Walker.
And Emily Parker, thanks for joining us. We are following breaking news from Lamert Park, where the LAPD is investigating a stabbing.
The scene is not far from where the MLK parade ended just a few hours ago.
So aside from somebody being thrown off a balcony, there was also a stabbing going on.
Gil Lavis is in Sky 5 with the details. Gil?
Well, Glenn and Lou, this started with large groups of people fighting here near Crenshaw, near Lamert Park. As I zoom in here now, we see a large response by LAPD. Skirmish lines all over the place with LAPD in different directions. You're looking at Crenshaw Boulevard. That's mounted police there facing southbound towards 43rd Street. Let me come up and show you the crowd here. The crowd is mostly dispersed throughout the streets here on different avenues here, but I can tell you that during that fight, during one of those fights, a 40-year-old man was stabbed. LAPD had to go in and rescue that person with the help of the fire department. But again, a 40-year-old man stabbed in unknown condition, rushed to a hospital at this point, and a large group of people here kind of scattered in different areas. I'll come back to the north side of Crenshaw Boulevard near Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. You can see it's pretty much empty at this point. There is a response by LAPD in this area for skirmish lines, and as well on surface streets off of the major highways or major streets here. Their LAPD had to go into these streets here. McClung is one of them here. You can see some of the units there.
So according to people there, you have the parents of these children getting into it and fighting each other as well, right? People watch the parents of these kids be present and condone the behavior, and then when somebody got hurt, they blame the police. So they watch the parents of these people present, co-signing the behavior, egging it on. Then when somebody get hurt, they blame the police for not stepping in.
Okay, so that is common. Remember the Stockton shooting that I had extensively covered here on this channel, right? Now, during the Stockton shooting, when the cops came into the party, the first thing they did was draw their weapons, you know, at everyone. Now, a lot of people perceive this to be rather distasteful, which they don't understand that what cops do, once they walk into a scene knowing that there is a shooting, they have to draw their guns in any particular direction anyway. I'll give you an example, right? There was a loose gunman here in this neighborhood, right, that I lived at, right? I don't know what happened. It was like a shooting that happened in South Sac, and it led all the way into West Sac, right? So the suspect ended up running around the houses here, right? So for whatever reason, they thought maybe the suspect was in my house or something because it was near, you know, one of my neighbors where he was at. So I got out the house. Guess what? They all drew their guns at me. This had absolutely nothing to do with me whatsoever. I assure of you, right? I don't know this shooter. I don't know anything. I don't know him from a can of paint. I don't know him from anything, right? But obviously it was within my vicinity. You know, they tell me to get out the house. I get out the house. My hands are up like this. Shout out to you, my man. He says, hi, I'm only here for a few minutes to renew my membership. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for that, Hate Love. Thank you so much for your membership, man. So, yeah, these are just normal procedures. You know, these are normal procedures that police do, right? And oftentimes the community that they are working with will often mistaken this for something else. So, especially something nefarious.
Because apparently the police was there. And the police was apparently unfolded, say, all right, bro, attack each other. Go ahead. Hey, bro, we not stepping in. We not about to risk our lives for y'all. Y'all don't even like us. Which I still think is wrong, right?
Okay, well, there you go, right? Sometimes you got to let the animals wipe each other out, right? These gang members know what they're doing. They know who their enemies are. And look, war happens everywhere else around the world, okay? There's a lot of sectarian violence that goes on around the world. There's a lot of governments that the United States supports that creates all types of chaos in our population, and the U.S. doesn't go in there and intervene. The problem is, it's California, and California is one of the 50 states of America, and as a result of that, they have to act towards these things, but with the discretion of the police and the detectives and the people that are involved with these gang units, sometimes that's what they do. They let the animals wipe each other out, as what Denzel said in Training Day.
I still think the officers should have stepped in. But how can I blame the police when guardians were there and parents did nothing?
I didn't even know this dude. He got stabbed. It was predictable that he would get stabbed. It was predictable someone would get stabbed, someone would get hurt. And these cats just stood around watching it. Each one of these people in these uniforms with these badges stood around and watched that shit happen. But we were trying to do something about it. But we were trying to help and bring some peace. The peacemakers just made a wall. Mother. All this goddamn cops, dude. So tired of this. Look. It's not good that people are killing each other in these streets. It's not good. I know that. When it's going down and it's in front of your face and the cops just stand there. Just stand there and don't do anything. They contain the situation by making a wall and they watch everyone kill each other. And they just watch.
Did you lose a lot of money sports betting on DraftKings or FanDuel?
We been knew LAPD didn't like black people. We been knew LAPD was racist. We been knew LAPD was corrupt. So am I going to sit here and boo-hoo and cry that the racist police didn't risk their life to save black people? I'm not. But you know who I'm going to look at and say, damn, shame on you? I'm going to look at the black people who are supposed to love other black people and see them acting.
You see, this is where I disagree with Flacco, right? He goes after black people because that is his specific target. But let me remind you once again, black people are not the only ones that gangbang. Black people are not the only ones that have criminal organizations. Black people are not the only ones that crash out on each other or have a wild, rambunctious moment in the way that, let's say, other races do, right? It just so happens that it's on a black holiday, and you know what? It's MLK Day, so we're going to highlight that and demonize them to that crazy extent. Hate Love says, crazy wild times for you all in the USA. Stay alert and stay vigilant. Thank you for that advice, my man. Thank you for that advice. So in the next hour, right, we're going to talk about Myron Gaines, okay? We're going to talk about Myron Gaines potentially getting canceled. Okay, so that is the next topic at hand that we are going to talk about. So it was over playing a song, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So, all right, let's get to this particular topic right here.
Sneako is having a very bad day.
So, all right, obviously this is in regards to Sneako, but yeah, let's start it off with Poetic Flacco on this one right here, right? Okay, so yeah, let's just preface this right here.
Sneako is having a very bad day after all his friends betrayed him and threw him under the bus. We'll get back to the video shortly, but I want to let you guys know this video is being sponsored by Kalshi. Kalshi every day on gonna be for the day. Probably 7 out of 10 times my weather prediction hit. You can do so on the nozzle your first deposit. We are born, just that a lot of black people just innately know. We are born just knowing this, and that's, you can't trust the white supremacists. They're loyal to nobody but themselves. So Sneako and Myron are the only 2 black guys in this friend group of white supremacists. Nick Fuentes.
Look, I'm going to have to agree with what Flacco here said, right? I disagree with Flacco on a lot of things, but if there is one thing that he said here that was, you know, very prominent, he said that white supremacists have no loyalty or can't be trusted. Let's walk back what he said right here.
That's, you can't trust the white supremacists. They're loyal to nobody but themselves.
That's right. They're loyal to nobody but themselves. I agree with this, right? Take Adam 22, for example. He's not a white supremacist, but he has, well, white tendencies in a way where, look, he'll snitch you out to the cops. Let's be honest about this, right? You know, you can be Adam's friend, and Adam's friends with a lot of gang members, which is crazy, because the minute that a cop comes up and asks Adam, hey, what's such and such doing from neighborhood A to neighborhood B or this and that or whatever, right? Adam's going to spill the beans. He has no loyalty to anybody. That's the reality of it. But here's the thing about white people that you have to understand, right? Even though a lot of them don't have loyalty, they also are brave enough to get rid of their parents, get rid of their family members who done wrong. There are many people in the minority community that will allow a child molester to walk around in their neighborhood and not say anything. They will allow a family member to be a child molester in their family without saying anything to them or without creating any consequences against them. So that is one thing that I will really admire about white people. They will really go after their family members if they feel that they've been done wrong. And Eminem is a great example of that. Take a look at the contrast between Eminem's Cleaning Out My Closet versus Tupac's Dear Mama. Think about it like this, right? Dear Mama by Tupac is about him saying that I forgive my mom for being a crack queen. Even though you's a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen, mama. Meanwhile, you got Eminem talking about how he's cleaning out his closet and that his own daughter will not even see his mom at her own funeral because of how bad Eminem felt like he was treated by his mom. That is the contrast between white people and minorities for the most part. Okay, now obviously this is generalizing, but all generalizations aren't true. But to each person is their own individual in the way that they act, and only the intelligent ones will understand what I mean. The Game Prophet says, Black MAGA men for King Trump. Wow, okay, so Trump is your king now. Crips for King Trump Loke. All right, so we got some Crip Trump supporters here in the chat. Okay, Hate Love says, hi game, please don't post in all caps, thank you. It's all right. He can post in all caps. It's no problem. He says, on point, bro. That's exactly right about Tupac and them. Yeah, man. You know, he basically praises his mom even though she was a crack fiend and even though he left them hungry all these times. Patrick says Tupac's mom, even though was a druggie, was an angel and raised Tupac right. Eminem's mom said she wished he was one that died and tried to sue him for millions of dollars. They are not the same. And shame. Okay. It was Tupac's mom that told the doctors in Las Vegas to pull the plug. Just saying. Just saying. So, all right, let's continue on with this topic right here.
So Sneako and Myron are the only two black guys in this friend group of white supremacists. Nick Fuentes, white supremacist. Clav, white supremacist. Justin Waller, white supremacist. Now, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate are the only controversial white supremacists. I'm not willing to die on the hill. In my opinion.
Now, here's the thing, right? Justin Waller, I don't know if I would call him a white supremacist, right? He doesn't seem or strike me as somebody that is politically charged with, like, white politics or anything like that, right? Like, I mean, Nick Fuentes, obviously, you could call him that, right? But I don't know, man. There's a difference between people that espouse racist views versus hardcore extremists. Are they neo-Nazis, right? In terms of extremist ways? No, they're not. But anyways.
Andrew and Tristan are white supremacists. They say the N-word with the hard R more than any racist I know. But while on this boys' night out, a clip goes viral of them listening to a song that really... Boys' night out. A clip goes viral of them listening to a song that really pissed off the Jewish community.
The Mediterranean diet is the world's healthiest diet, and Factor makes it easy to eat that way every day. A true Mediterranean meal.
Everybody is having a good time.
To be honest with you, that particular song with Kanye, if it did not involve, you know, the German painter, right? If that song did not involve him in any way, that would sound like a really catchy song if you think about it, right? It sounds very catchy, right? The same type of formula that Kanye used to make pop hits and to make hits that are attractive to the ears of around the world, which is something that he knows how to do. Yet he adds the German painter as the focal point of that song, and you can see why it is off-putting to a lot of people.
I don't see not one person who appears to be uncomfortable. Now, some people's hearts is in it more than others. Myron's heart is 100% in it. Myron is going over, but Myron is throwing up the salute. Myron is really feeling it in his...
Yeah, speaking of Myron Gaines, right? So obviously he had a talk out in Michigan, right? He literally said on the campus, hey, you know what? I am a German. You know what I mean? German, quote unquote. Like, literally said that, right? And I get what he's trying to say. Obviously, Myron is not a real Nazi, right? From what I understand about Myron, he's a patriotic American. He may not be the most religious Muslim, but he observes the fact that he is a Muslim, observes the values of Islamic relationships, Islamic lifestyles, and how to, let's say, deal with your family in terms of conservative values, right? So he comes from that, right? So with that in mind, you got to understand, as a patriotic Homeland Security agent, I don't think that he's going to side specifically with the enemies of the United States, which, by the way, the Nazis were enemies of the United States, right? So as a patriotic American of Myron's stature, is he really a Nazi, though? Or is he just saying things for shock value in order to let you know that, hey, you know what? Freedom of speech is a real thing, and I'm going to push it to the limits because I'm allowed to do so. I live in a country that allows me to espouse free speech. That is all that I think Myron is trying to do.
Period. Sneako don't really look like his heart is in it completely. What makes you laugh can make you cry.
So the mayor of Miami had something to say about this, right? So obviously now they are banned in Miami as a result of this.
All of a sudden, they was having a good time, but nobody is having a good time anymore once they went online and seen the reaction to that little clip. The mayor of Miami Beach responded back, right? Pretty much just like going off on why, you know, being a Nazi ain't funny, condemning and disavowing their particular actions. Now, he says Miami Beach is a welcoming, inclusive city built by people of all backgrounds and faith, but these influencers who spread hate should never have been welcomed into this club or allowed to play a song with how, you know who, lyrics that has been universally condemned. I have and will continue to fight against hate speech, against any group, anti-Semitism, hate speech, or normalization of extremist ideology has no place in our Miami Beach community, our nightlife, or any public setting. Once the mayor spoke up, everything began to crumble. You had the nightclub they went into, who gave them VIP treatment, who also played the song as well. I'm assuming at their request, That nightclub came out, disavowed them, disassociated from them, and actually banned them from coming back to that club. And not just that nightclub, other clubs on Miami
and I definitely can't talk about
banned them from coming back. So they were getting a lot of backlash, and it felt...
So in other words, they now got banned in Miami as a result of that, right? And, well, let's hear what Myron Gaines had to say about this particular subject.
Shit on YouTube. I'll do a poll for you, ninjas. Universal truth in Miami is don't bring that. And I'm honestly operating at like 50% here. I can't fucking. I want to hear your perspective. Obviously, Jews that fled anti-Semitism came to Miami. Half of South America, looking in the room here, fled communism, socialism, comes to Miami. Haitians flee corruption, come to Miami.
Shout out to you, Isaac.
Italians flee fascism, come to Miami. The reason that Miami is that city is because they all know what the rest of the world looks like. Yeah. That's why you're getting this reaction. Any other city, you're not going to get this. Okay?
I think you've lived in a bubble where you think...
Okay, that's not true whatsoever, because the reality is, if you guys know, this woman right here, okay? Cori Bush, I talked about this last year. This wasn't reported in the mainstream news, and I'm going to show you guys why. Cori Bush, American politician, nurse, pastor, and Black Lives Matter activist who served as the U.S. representative for Missouri's 1st congressional district from 2021 to 2025. Now, I don't really give a fuck that she's a Black Lives...
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Kirk. Lazar, yes, PDB is a scammer, right? You know, yeah, he strikes me as a scammer. Facts.
As matter activist, whatever. What I want you guys to focus on is the fact that she lost, okay, her election because in 2024, Bush ran for a re-election to the seat on August 6, 2024. Bush lost the Democratic primary vessel to Wesley Bell, okay? This nigga right here. AKA the prosecuting attorney of St. Louis County. The primary was the second most expensive House primary in history, with $9 million in spending against Bush from the United Democracy Project, AIPAC Super PAC. The organization targeted Bush after criticism of Israel during the Gaza war. Bush was the second member of the squad defeated in a Democratic primary in 2024 following George Latimer's defeat of Jamal.
No, it's not. It's the background from Myron Gaines. Yeah, that's a little sound clip from Myron Gaines, the smoke alarm.
Bowman, let me explain this to you guys in fucking English. An American politician.
Trust me, I know why he uses a smoke alarm sound. It's a racial stereotype that Myron Gaines likes to do. But all right, let's hear what he has to say on this one right here.
That had critical views of a foreign conflict that make the United States look bad optically, was pushed out of power by a group that has an interest in the preservation of Israel, and these members spent millions upon millions of dollars to fund and promote her opponent. Let that sink in, okay? This chick is out of where? She's out of fucking St. Louis, okay? Let's ask ourselves a question. Are them boys? But they were able to displace a politician that had anti-Israel views and fund another opponent.
So, in other words, what Myron Gaines is trying to explain to you guys is that there are a group of people that have certain influences on U.S. politics. And what he is merely doing when he is singing a song or praising other people that make songs that are undesirable to, let's say, that particular group, in particular Kanye West, he's expressing his freedom of speech in a way where he's saying, you know what, this is what these guys are able to do, and now I want to push the limit on my freedom of speech. That is what Myron is basically doing. And at the same time, you also have to understand, right? Myron Gaines is performative. And that's hard for a lot of people to really grasp. He's a law enforcement federal agent from Homeland Security. Okay, he's a Muslim of Sudanese background, so he comes from a very serious background. He's a Sunni Muslim from Sudan, a country that is predominantly Sunni, and then on top of that, he comes from the US government. So it's very difficult for you to see that a lot of the things that he does is performative for the sake of the internet. That's really all it is. It's all performative. So I need you guys to understand that.
What does this mean, chat? Okay? I'm trying to make this very simple so even people that don't understand politics or the American political structure. It's simple. People that have the interest of a foreign country were able to keep out an American politician who was critical of said country, who was participating in a genocide, and to add insult to injury, this area of the United States.
Mike Anderson says, what kind of Sandman have we got here? Well, it depends what kind of Sandman you're looking for. You know, I could be a very friendly Sandman, or I could be a very vicious Sandman that's going to take you to the depths of hell if you wish to do so, right? Or you want to enter the Sandman like a Metallica song and I'll make you really live it. Or I could be, you know, a friendly Sandman or a friendly ghost like Casper. However you want to play it. But shout out to you, Mike Anderson. You are welcome here. Let me know what part of the world you are from, my man.
States has a minority of those represented people, but they have so much influence and so much wealth and so much power that they were able to fund an opponent who is pro-Israel to keep her out. Do you see the problem with this now, guys? So, not only do they have powers in areas like Miami Beach where there's a high population, they even have power in places where they're the stark minority. And this is the problem. This is precisely one of the problems. Politicians are supposed to be a representation of their people, the people that they represent. But what we had here was a group of people hijack an election, remove this woman, who is a representation of the public, and put someone in who might be a representation of the public a little bit, but more importantly, has positive interest for a foreign nation. Do you guys see the problem here now? And there's a million examples of this occurring all across the United States, by the way. This isn't just St. Louis. This is just one that comes to mind right now. To give you guys an example of what the hell I'm talking about. So when I say they run America and people get mad at me and say that's anti-Semitic, it's facts.
Miami's the only place, thank God.
Oh, hold on one sec. OSS guys, I'm going to drop a poll for you guys right now. You guys tell me what you guys want to do. We've been on that.
Them boys, that's right. Them boys, yeah. You know, my man Myron's always, you know, talking about them boys. What's up, fool? What's going on, Mark? Man, you know, part 2 up in here, you know, with this, you know?
You lived in Addison for a year and a couple other places. I think this is bigger than that to me. And by the way, I
polls in the chat, OSS. Vote in there. Let me know what you guys want to do.
I'd like to go to the next topic. Let's do a couple other things on this, and let's move on to the next few topics to get into. I think, Tate, for me, it
says part 2, love the consistency. Man, thank you. You know what? It's supporters like you that help me stay consistent. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, I love this. This is, you know, this is a personal high for me. And, yeah, man, I love every minute of it, inshallah.
It's a different conversation for you because every year when a new year starts, it's about how am I recreating myself for the next level. You know, when I was in my 20s, my buddy promoted a club called Club Jerk in Melrose, and then we used to go to Pimps and Hoes, and we used to go to, no, literally, I don't know if you ever heard of Pimps and Hoes.
It's a great name.
We used to go, it was literally called Pimps and Hoes in Vegas. I don't know if you want to pull it up or not.
Human trafficking.
They
Guys, smash that like button. We got 2,200. Let's get to 4,000 likes, man. Get that engagement up. I'm on YouTube for you, ninjas.
Yes, clubs with 20,000 people show up, and LA had a nightclub called Club Naked. You know, you had all these different places to go to.
Mark said, I just keep it up, bro. You're a good dude with a good head on his shoulders. I don't tell people what to do, but I let friends know. I just guard your heart in the gossip-ish. It will bring negativity, man. Shout out to you, my man. Yup. And we got somebody laughing in the chat. Let me know what is so funny so I could laugh with you too, or maybe laugh at you. You let me know. Lou Kirby, I guess is your name. Kirk Lazarus says, God bless you all. Yeah, man, thank you for the positive words. God bless you as well.
And friends that you had.
See you later, Kyrie. All right, man. Looks like you are exiting up out of here. Nice to see you, my man.
Would do different things. And then one day I'm like, I got to recreate myself. And I'm going to the next level.
I totally understand your point. Nick Fuentes says a lot of things I agree with. I don't agree with everything he says. I've seen clips of him say things, and I found them very funny. I had never met him before. Collab's blown up online. He's doing things. I've seen some clips. I'd never met him before. I got to Miami for the first time in a long time. They said, guys, let's meet up. We met up. Sneako came along. We went out. They played a song. For me, I understand what you're saying. Like,
yeah, Kirby definitely got the giggles there, Mark. He says, my grandpa just, I mean, you know, that's a weird thing for you to laugh at. But, you know, again, you're a no name, no face kind of guy. You know, you're going to come in here and say outrageous things, you know, without really any consequence to it. Welcome to the world of the internet, my man.
I need to reinvent myself, and I have all these charges.
If you choose to, you don't have
of course, but I have all these charges, and I have the potential to have a brand new image, and I'm one of the best, most well-known people on the planet.
He says everyone deals with trauma differently. Yeah, ask Erica Kirk. Oh, got her there. He says, so did my grandpa. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, listen, Lou Kirby. I'm gonna call you Erica Kirk from now on. How about that? Let's call him Erica Kirk. You're Lou Kirby, Erica Kirk. Erica Lou Kirk. That's your name, Erica Lou Kirk. You know, or if you don't want to be a woman, we'll call you, yeah, Eric Lou Kirk. That's your name, Eric Lou Kirk. So there you go, Eric Lou Kirk. Welcome to the chat. Let me know what part of the world you are from. And, yeah, what is your favorite sniper rifle?
If I meet somebody for the first time, or I meet people and hang out with them for 6 or 7 hours, and the entire thing is filmed, and 30 seconds blows up, I understand. And I'm really not trying to just pass blame, and I'm not trying to make excuses. But truthfully...
All right, now you're making me laugh. He says, how can you laugh at your own family? You just like Erica Kirk, you're Aaron Kirk. So he's Aaron Kirk. So I guess that's the sister, right? So I guess, you know, that's the unknown, you know, sister of Erica Kirk, I'm assuming.
I don't see what I should have done differently, besides say, oh, I've never met you before, you haven't been vetted, I'm never going to meet anybody ever.
Someone in the Rumble chat said, everyone is doing damage control after that stream except Myron. Yeah, I don't go fuck, bro. I don't go fuck.
You know what? Okay, so Myron Gaines right now is in this different level of not giving an F. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing Nazi salutes in his live chats. He's doing, you know, college talks, right, in Michigan. And literally telling people that he's a full-blown Nazi, which is crazy. Which is crazy. Right? Like, I don't know what's going on. Man, like, he could get kicked out of YouTube, period, but he's not even getting paid from YouTube. Drizzy Goat says, what's up, bro? Shout out to you, my man. Shout out to you. Thank you for dropping in. Mark Haney says, oh, favorite sniper rifle. Damn, well, I own, yeah, we know, a Remington, Leopard. Okay, so that's my personal favorite that I own. Okay, well, listen. Mark Haney, we and Kamala Harris know what your favorite sniper rifle was, right? We know yours, okay? Definitely well documented. But we're talking about Erica Kirk. What's her? And, you know, that was kind of a pun and a thrown, you know, at there. But yeah, I know what you mean. But there's way better sniper rifle cartridges than 300 WSMs. Main card. Who you got winning the main card fights in this weekend? Yeah, Erica Kirk is gross, he says. Haha, yeah, I forgot. I told you that, Ish. Yeah, Mark, trust me, bro. You're like the biggest legend. Aside from point and shoot, you're like the biggest legend on my chat. You know what I mean? You and point and shoot are like the biggest legends on my chat. You know, point and shoot because he has that well-documented beef with Adam 22 with no jumper. And then you have a well-documented beef with Kamala Harris, right? You know what I mean? Which is insane to say, you know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, yo, one of the dudes in my chat literally went to war with Kamala Harris in the courtroom and won, right? You know what I mean? So you're a bro, Mark, you're a NorCal legend, bro. You know what I mean? You're a NorCal legend, and I'm honored that you actually tap into my channel. Like, that means a lot to me. And, you know, all you guys as well, right? And, you know, even though some of you have never, you know, fought Kamala Harris in your life, you know what I mean? Even though some of you have never fought the federal government in your life, let alone Kamala Harris out of all people, right? I mean, dude, listen, man, Mark got a trophy on him, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Mark is a real life hood, like real true hood trophy to the max. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm sure people from your section and where you're from and your family, I'm sure are very proud to, you know, to be associated with you. And I am as well. Inshallah, hopefully we can meet in person. And if you're ever in Sacramento, you know, don't be shy to, you know, say what's up. You know what I mean? Larry, the door technician, says, should I eat my Thanksgiving leftovers? I would probably advise not to do so because at this point it would probably be very spoiled, right? Even if you were to preserve it. But yeah, very interesting yet random question.
But at the same time, I'm not going to knock those that are, you know?
He says, yeah, appreciate the kind words, brother. He says, fashion, brother, I'll be in Davis on Saturday at the big gate paintball game. Oh, okay, okay. So that's not too far from me. Okay. Larry, the door technician, says it has cotton candy on it. Yeah, that's quite spoiled right there. Hey, I tell you what, Larry, listen, since I helped you save your life today by advising you, and the chat as well advising you to not eat your spoiled leftover, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. It's the least that we could do saving your life. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we don't want you to, you know, get food poisoning or anything like that. He says, I compete in paintball a lot in Sacramento. They hold all the tournaments there. Oh, okay. All right, man. All right. Okay, so that makes sense that you would compete in paintball. I mean, you're very much in tune with the gun culture, right? You know, well documented, obviously. But on top of that, I think you're transferring those skills into like a sport. And so, yeah, I think that's quite the right thing to do. So good luck on your game and your match. And, you know, hopefully you get some KIAs out there, you know, while you're at it, man.
We're all different and different parts of our lives. You know what I mean? So,
and yes, listen, Myron is right about this, right? Everybody is doing damage control but him. Here's Andrew Tate right now doing damage control. Now, I feel there's something coming once again to the horizon of Andrew Tate because right now he's speaking in a very politically correct manner. He's speaking in a very non-abrasive manner, almost in a very apologetic manner. So what I'm wondering is if Andrew Tate has an arrest coming his way because they're going to keep doing it to him, right? They're going to keep going on and on and on, kind of like back in the days with the Rampart scandal in LA, right? What did those guys do? They constantly harassed Hispanic gangs, Southerners, Bloods and Crips, just so they can try and get some kind of, you know, some kind of evidence leverage against them to build a case of some sort, right? They're going to continue to do the same thing with Andrew Tate, and it's even worse because you got Romania, who's a corrupt government. You got the UK, who I mean, they are a Western country, but at the same time, they have way different laws in the United States, and in fact, very strict on the aspects of freedom of speech.
And you do have to understand that, like, Tate was the most Google man in the world, guys, right? So he has he's a bit at a different level, so I understand. And obviously, they're trying to target him.
Okay, so there you go. So Myron acknowledged that right there. He absolutely acknowledged everything that I just said right now.
And you do have to understand that, like, Tate was the most Google man in the world, guys, right? So do it. Bro, after that stream, except Myron. Yeah, I don't go fuck, bro.
Right here.
I don't see what I should have done differently besides say, oh, I've never met you before, you haven't been vetted, I'm never going to meet anybody ever.
Someone in the Rumble chat said, everyone is doing damage control after that stream except Myron. Yeah, I don't go fuck, bro. I don't go fuck.
Hate Love says, I used to play laser tag and paintballing, and then as I got older, clay pigeon shooting. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a thing that they do in the UK, pigeon shooting. He says, hey, I don't want to be all weird and political and religious, but as a Muslim, doesn't Andrew Tate live outside of those moral beliefs? Okay, Mark Haney, my man, I'm glad you brought this up, right? So, you know, a resident Muslim here for everybody in the chat, you know, for those of you that, you know, can't figure it out with the beard. I don't think Andrew Tate is a good Muslim. I don't. At the same time, though, I don't want to talk too harshly against him because I also want to open a door of, let's say, dawah or trying to educate him in being a better Muslim. So in other words, not discourage him, right? You know, that is actually the scholar advice, the Islamic scholar advice on Andrew Tate, right? He takes up a lot of white nationalist beliefs, okay, which even though as Muslims we have a lot of conservative beliefs, we don't have white nationalistic beliefs, right? There's a difference between white nationalistic beliefs and Islamic conservative beliefs. He says, haha, Myron says, I don't give a F. Yeah, bro. Yeah, because you know what? Andrew Tate is on a whole different level of fame right now, right? Myron Gaines, they are trying to suppress him to get to the level of where Andrew Tate is at. They are trying to suppress that because, let's be honest, man, Myron Gaines is crazy, bro. Like, some of the things that he says, and I told you guys, a lot of it is performative, in my opinion, right? But now I'm starting to understand, maybe it's not as performative as I think because he's losing sponsors. He gets millions of views on YouTube with nothing to show for it because they demonetize him. He says, I mean no offense nor in a derogatory by asking those questions. No, man, not at all. Not at all. You know what? Those are actually, you know, very intellectual questions that you're asking, especially regarding Andrew Tate's Islamic practice, right? You know, these criticisms are real in the Muslim community. The thing is that a lot of Muslims have a hard time criticizing Andrew Tate because of how popular he is. Just like in the MMA streaming space, right? A lot of people have a hard time going at MMA Guru because MMA Guru is one of the biggest platforms in MMA streaming. So as a result of that, they are they're a little bit careful in how they're going to dig in at him.
But at the same time, I'm not going to knock those that are. You know? We're all different. And different parts of our lives. You know what I mean? So, and you do have to understand that, like, Tate was the most Google man in the world, guys. Right? So he's a bit at a different level, so I understand. And obviously they're trying to target him. Or...
Hate Love says, Mark, I'm also Muslim, and it's not wrong. It's a good question. You are getting real answers from Kyrie, and this is what he likes to ask and learn from each other. Yes, correct. That is exactly what it is. And here's another thing that Myron said that I thought was really interesting, right? He says that me and Andrew Tate are in the different parts of our lives right now, right? When Khabib was asked about Abdul Manap saying, the father of Khabib, Abdul Manap, saying that he would invite Conor McGregor to Dagestan. Khabib answered, he said, my father, he is 50, 60 years old. I am young man. We are different. You know, we are in different times. You know, of course he's going to say that because he's old and I'm still young and I'm going to smash Conor McGregor because Conor McGregor offend my people. He offend my religion. He offend my country. This and that. So, yeah, Khabib said the same thing about his father in regards to being asked about his father welcoming Conor McGregor to Dagestan. He says, right on, I just don't want people reading my question with the wrong tone. Gotcha, okay. Nothing but respect here, even in disagreement, which I don't see any in context. Okay, he says, I love the accent. Oh, yes, the Khabib impression, yes.
Sit in a car and say, sorry guys, because I'm in this car, we must cut off the Bluetooth. Let me take everybody's phone from them.
All right, we'll stay on a little bit longer, guys, because, oh, you guys said that Sneako's on kick?
Like, it is what it is. I understand how these things get attached to my name. It's very inconvenient for me. I have Jewish business partners. I have tech teams in Israel. I have things going on, and I get a mess from this crap too. I can argue that I was set up. I can argue that Sneako...
There you go. He said he's got tech teams in Israel. Do you know how bad it is for Andrew Tate to say that? I get it. I understand what he means by that. But to the other idiots out there, they're going to clip that and say, aha, you see, Andrew Tate is a CIA or, I'm sorry, is a Mossad agent. He says, Sneako is a weirdo. Hate Love says, Mark, all I see from you is respect. He says, Mark Haney says, bringing his name up instantly discredits you, LOL, from Sneako. You know what? I will say Sneako's old character was rather weird. Right? He was rather weird. He talked about a lot of the, you know, sexual experiences that he had, you know, just a whole bunch of weird stuff from Sneako, right? But now, I will say Sneako is a much better Muslim than Andrew Tate. You know, now, for those of you that are in the know when it comes to Sneako and the Islamic faith, right? Wouldn't you say that Sneako is... I mean, I'm not going to say he's a better person than Andrew Tate, because no person is better than anybody. But when it comes to measuring piety or religious zeal, I would say Sneako is more of the conservative Muslim than that of Andrew Tate. Right? He says, Mark, Sneako is just lost. Well, Hate Love, let me ask you a question, right? Who's more lost Islamically between Sneako and Andrew Tate? Mushroom, shout out to you. He says, Trump is so unpopular, even his veins don't want to support him anymore. Wow. Okay, so I guess that's a little bit of a shot at Trump and his prominent health problems that are showing. I don't know if those are health issues or just the fact that for the first time in his presidency, he's actually doing a lot of work, right? Because the first time around, Trump looked like he didn't even have any stress in the world when it came to being the president. So he says, yeah, no clue Sneako was a Muslim. In no way does he represent Muslims in my eyes. Sneako, for me, is a personality, it has a personality issue for me. I'm just being judgy at best. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine, man. You know what? You know, for me, I agree with what you say because I knew what Sneako was before he was a Muslim. But now as a Muslim, I start to notice there is something a little bit different from him, right? Not to just give him, you know, the nod or give him the rub, you know, metaphorically speaking, no diddy, right? Give him the rub on being, you know, a pious Muslim. But there is one thing that I noticed that I did like when he debated Myron Gaines on... He debated Myron Gaines on Muslims in New York praying in Times Square. Now, in the opinion of Myron Gaines, he sort of saw that as a way of dominating America's cultural norms because America is not a Christian country. I'm sorry, it's not a Muslim country. It's a Christian country, and therefore praying in Times Square, which is a known American landmark, was so offensive to Myron Gaines, right, who himself is a Muslim, who himself sees the value in Islamic conservatism, Yet, for whatever reason, he was completely against people praying in Times Square, and Sneako absolutely defended that notion, and him and Myron Gaines had a very good intellectual debate about it, right? And this is sort of the thing that we emphasize here, right? We emphasize the aspect of free speech, being able to have intellectual discourse, right? Those are the things that we emphasize here, right? Hate Love says, okay, Kyrie, I see what you're saying. I don't know him as well, but you're right in this comparison. Yeah, became a completely different person after he was no longer a Muslim. I mean, when he was no longer a Christian or whatever he was prior to that. So
wasn't thinking. I could argue that they were just trying to chase clicks. I could argue it was malicious or not malicious. But truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, truthfully, I'm not here to beg sorry from anybody. I was in a van and I was in a club. That club also played songs about beating the shit out of women and shooting fucking black people. I didn't put any of the songs on. I'm not the DJ. And I think, actually, truthfully, and we have to...
Yo, Brett.
Okay, so that's a good point by Andrew Tate, right? Let me try to emphasize something with you guys, right? There are people out there who listen to music but don't listen to the lyrics. I happen to not be one of them. If I'm playing a song that talks about banging on someone or shooting at someone or something to that degree, right, there's a reason why I'm playing that song. Like if I roll up at your neighborhood on an Amigos block and I'm playing a certain song, there's a good reason why I'm playing it, right? Like, for example, if I'm playing a song about, two friends and you and I happen to be two friends and I post a picture with me and you in it, right? Why I'm not going to play a song that talks about why we're not friends, right? Like that song from Smash Mouth, Why Can't We Be Friends? Why Can't We Be Friends? A song like that is basically a song about, people who fell out of their friendship. Victory says, who is your favorite character in Southland? I'm going to say Ben Sherman, right? He's my favorite character because here's a reason why, right? Obviously, he's the protagonist of the show. Is that fair to say? Or maybe Regina King, the female detective, right? Played by Regina King. Maybe she's the protagonist. But I think they did a very good job on making every main character there the protagonist. But I'm going to go with the young guy, Ben. I'm going to tell you why, right? Ben has, a good heart. He has a good sense of intention. Like you could tell, oh, by the way, what season am I? I'm on, let me see here. What season is this? 4. I'm on season 4, my man. So this whole weekend, I, got a chance to binge some of it. So I'm at season 4. So Ben, he's my favorite character because he has to deal with a lot of moral dilemmas that has to deal with the gray lines of the world. He means well, but he has to act in certain ways that compromises his moral dilemma and sometimes makes mistakes. Like that one scene, I mean, I don't know how far you are, but in season 4, he ends up punching, a 15-year-old female student, which, by the way, is crazy considering that his background, he is a guy that saved his mom from a domestic violence abuse, and for whatever reason, he has this certain biasness towards people that, commit domestic, allegations, right? But for whatever reason, he ends up being in this situation where he ends up punching, a 15-year-old because of, some party that they were trying to break up in the middle of the street. But yeah, I'm going to read one more thing, and then I'm going to head out. So I'm going to read Hate Love and then Mark Haney, and I'm going to head out. So Hate Love says, I think Myron is only a paper Muslim. Okay, that's a good point. Sorry, but I don't see Myron as a real Muslim. Actions speak louder than words and paint a picture worth 1,000 words, etc. He says, I don't see the problem with people praying where they want. It's a free country, worship where you want. I'd rather have Muslims praying in a public than Christians screaming hell from the corner. Okay, so that's a very interesting point right there, Mark. That is a very interesting point that you made there. All right, guys, listen. So, look, that is all that I have for this one right now, guys. listen, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one, and I'm going to leave this stream off with a friend of mine who makes beats. I'm going to play this beat, and I'm going to have you guys listen to it, and yeah, that's how we're going to cut the show today. Victory says, yeah, I don't see why it's a big deal unless it's disturbing the peace like anything else. Yeah, that is one of the problems that Myron Gaines was sort of citing, was he was saying that for whatever reason it was causing some kind of, you know, disturbance of any kind. But I don't know. I mean, it seems as if, you know, they sort of rented that place out or something like that, right? So, yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. I would have to agree with that on that assessment. He says, okay, bye, Kyrie. Take care, bro. See you soon, inshallah. Yes, thank you so much, guys. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And one more comment from Mark Haney. At the same time, my first inclination of people praying in public would be the words of Jesus, who said, don't pray where all can see in silence and privacy. But again, I don't pray at all. Okay. That is sort of a Christian ideology, right? Where, you know, the faith is sort of private. I keep it to myself. Whereas with Muslims, unless you are conducting yourself in a military war espionage situation, you're commanded to sort of exercise your faith to the fullest extent. So, yeah, I guess I kind of see what you're saying there. All right, guys, listen, that is all that I have for this one right now. Stay tuned. I'm going to keep playing this music from a friend of mine. I'm going to post his this beat on my members section only, and I want you guys to go and support him, you know, and things of that nature. So, you know, shout out to my man Trey Wizzle from Oak Park, Sacramento, California. Shout out to my Oak Park blood homies. Shout outs to the Asian boy Crips in Stockton, California. Shout outs to all the homies in Long Beach. Shout outs to all the homies in the North. My man Mark Haney representing the North. And shout outs to all my Southsiders, everybody, all the Fresno Bulldogs, everybody in California. Shout outs to all you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this content. Hope you guys enjoy all the content that I got going on. And inshallah, I will see you guys in the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and continue on until the end of time. Oh, yes, and I forgot to mention, shout out to all my hitters in the UK as well, because they keep it gangster over there in the UK side too. So, you know, whatever we do out here, we keep it gangster, keep it G, and keep it real. And more importantly, we do everything to serve Allah Almighty. And inshallah, that is what we do.